how to say no. We believe that we are rude, that we're gonna break the relationship, that after, if I say no now, when I will ask, they will tell me no as well. So what is the issue here?
We are talking about boundaries. Saying no is one form of setting boundaries.
We tend to say yes to everything, but how do we say no? And I don't know how to say no.
Saying no is one form of setting limits. It's imagining a no like a boundary, a physical fence set around yourself. So, saying no is one form of telling people this is where myself begins and this is where yourself stops. It's one way of protecting your time, your skill set, your energy, and your mental health. So, setting physical boundaries is the ability to communicate to somebody that, don't come any closer because this does not make me feel very comfortable. I would appreciate for us to retain some space.
I try get 100 no's before I start selling my new product.
We are saying no to the situation. We are not saying no to the person.
Episode 2 of the new series, The Mind Gap, how to say no. This is a really interesting issue that bothers a lot of professionals and a lot of people in general. And again, with Andrie. Hi, Andrie, how are you?
Hi, Oresti. Thank you for having me once again.
So we're going for the new episode, how to say no, a very interesting issue, how we deal it, because very often we believe that we are rude, that we're gonna break the relationship, that after, if I say no now, when I will ask, they will tell me no as well. So what is the issue here? How do we handle this? Because it's something that is overwhelming people, yes?
From what I hear, yes. So we are talking about boundaries. Saying no is one form of setting boundaries. What are boundaries really?
Boundaries, as I understanding it, is our space, yes? So it's appreciate basically your personality, your space, your time, your value of time, space, and personality, and work at what you really want to and what you really have to. Because many times you get requests, especially for free work, yes?
We all do, don't we?
Yes. And in the situation of don't want to be rude, as I said before, or whatever, we tend to say yes to everything. But how do we say no? Like now I have a request again from one professional that she's on social media, working for a company that the owner is a really good friend of surroundings. And he helped me at the past, and I really appreciate that. And now that I get the request, I understand that they need a little bit of my help. This a little bit. Can you check a little bit? That I know that it will take me
2 hours of free work.
At least, and to do the work properly, I need maybe 6 or 10 hours, and I need to charge a very good amount as I charge everyone else, to be fair with the rest of the clients. And I don't know how to say no.
Okay. Saying no is one form of setting limits. It's imagining a no like a boundary, a physical fence set around yourself. So saying no is one form of telling people this is where myself begins and this is where yourself stops. It's one way of protecting your time, your skill set, your energy, and your mental health.
How do you say no and be polite? Politely.
We first of all need to disengage from the belief that saying no is not polite.
Okay.
We need to disengage from the belief that when we are saying no, we are turning somebody down. We are not. We are really caring about building healthy boundaries. And we are also modeling what a healthy relationship should be like. Very often we tend to see people making favors and expecting favors back.
Yes.
This is not very healthy. When you're making a favor to a friend or a colleague or a client or somebody you're dealing with on a business level, it shouldn't be implied that the person should be expected to give something back. So you can really say no politely.
If you don't want to give this effort. If you don't want to put this effort. Like if you want to because it's your friend or because it's your client and you appreciate the client and you want to do it, you can do it. But you do not expect that he or she will come back and say, here is your bonus or thank you very much. And
you may want to assist somebody by giving your free knowledge, time or whatever. You may not have the time luxury to actually assist, even if you want to. You can turn somebody down or an offer or an offering down by politely saying, I really wish I could help, but at this right moment, I'm preoccupied with completing a project for my employer that has a deadline. And
can we do it? Can we do it after the deadline?
Well, I have other pressing priorities that from paying clients probably, if you are being requested to offer something for free, and they are already in the pipeline and on hold for several days, and I wouldn't want to let them down. It's like when your child is pushing for the third chocolate in a day. Don't you set boundaries?
I set boundaries at the first one.
You see? And why is that acceptable? And why is it not acceptable when you set boundaries with clients or the social circle or with colleagues?
So is it the boundaries is only on time? Can we set the boundaries so the people that see us understand what we mean about boundaries?
Boundaries are basically separated in three main categories.
Okay.
Emotional boundaries, time boundaries, and physical boundaries.
Okay.
Let me give you an example.
Yes. Explain. Time is easy to understand.
Is it?
I believe. Emotional is a little bit more difficult.
Okay. Let me explain one by one.
At least by me.
Okay. Let me start with the physical boundaries. I used to train one company where an employee, let's call her Maria, for instance, she spoke to me during a break, during the training, and she said, you know what, I feel quite uncomfortable communicating to my superior, who was a man, that when he touches me on the shoulder, every time that he requests assistance from me, I feel uncomfortable.
So he goes and says, like, Maria, can you please do that for me?
Yes.
Okay.
There are companies that have policies protecting employees towards any physical contact. There are companies, though, that do not have such policies. So employees are in the probably uncomfortable position of having to communicate the boundaries when colleagues, clients, the supervisors are not appreciating and respecting the boundaries.
The physical boundaries.
The physical boundaries. So she was supported to go and speak to her supervisor and tell the man, You know what? I would feel more comfortable if we kept some space in between us every time that we are in a meeting or every time that you wish to assign a new task to me.
Okay.
I would appreciate some more personal space. It
Okay.
was uncomfortable, of course.
To say that.
Yes,
How did it work out?
it worked out really well because sometimes people do not mean bad. They do it without thinking that this behavior could be actually making somebody feel uncomfortable.
Okay.
So setting physical boundaries is the ability to communicate to somebody that, don't come any closer because this does not make me feel very comfortable. I would appreciate for us to retain some space.
Very good advice.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go for the time
Time.
boundaries.
I used to train one team of people working at a retailer, a very big retailer in Cyprus. And there used to be a store manager among other managers who were attending this series of trainings, who was always arriving 20, 30, 40 minutes late,
Okay.
40 minutes late at every single session that we had to execute. The instructions that I got from top management were wait for everybody to arrive before you begin the training,
Oh my God.
because it is very important for them to hear the whole thing. This person was not respecting everybody's time, my time, his own time, of course. So he used to arrive very late and everybody had to wait for him.
So how did you handle it?
So after the third time that this happened, I asked him for a personal chat. I took him outside the room and I said, during the break, and I said, may we discuss something that is bothering me and it's probably affecting the rest of your colleagues. I noticed that every time that we are getting together for training purposes, you arrive at least 30 minutes late and everybody has to wait for you in order to begin the training. And some people, because they respect the time set for the training, they arrive even 30 minutes later. So some of your colleagues are waiting for an hour before we begin the training. How do you think this makes them feel? He said, well, I never thought about it. And I said, well, now that you know, how do you feel about this? And he said, well, I will try to be punctual next time. I didn't realize that this behavior of mine is affecting other people in such manner. And I said, my time as well. You're not respecting my time as well because I'm here waiting for you. He said, I really apologize. And after that, he was on time every single time.
Nice. Nice way to approach it and handle it.
Well, we need to understand that saying no shouldn't be impolite, shouldn't be rude. It should be assertive. Assertive is when you communicate something without anger. It's when you're protecting and respecting yourself and building healthy boundaries so that other people can return the respect to you.
Is there, from your career and from your expertise and interaction with people, do you have any funny story of people saying no?
Of people saying no. Do you mean in a manner that I felt negatively, or how?
Is there like a funny way of saying no, or do you have any?
Well, I have been the receiver of many comments. You know, when you interact with a lot of people on a daily basis, you build relationships with them and they tend to open up. So people tend to say no directly. So
Without explaining,
Of course.
or so, yeah.
Of course, I had a team of trainees once, and they were talking all together, talking on top of one another. They didn't respect the time I gave them for a group work. So they were shouting, and I said, guys, please, can we work quietly on this project for the next 10 minutes and give time for everyone to think and generate new ideas? And then a tall guy, a really big guy, he raised his hand, he got up and he said, no. And I said, what do you mean no? He said, well, I'm an adult, I can decide for myself, and you're paid just to give me information. I'm not obliged to listen to anything you say, and of course, I'm not in kindergarten, and you're not supposed to give me instructions. Well, I laughed.
Was he joking or?
Well, it was partly of a joke, but really he meant it. I laughed and I said, you know what? You're right. And I respect the fact that you've been straightforward. And I respect the fact that you've been honest. So building healthy boundaries is about being honest. It's about communicating to people that whatever the case, I will speak to you directly with honesty and with transparency.
Does that has to do something with emotional boundaries?
Well, let's go to emotional boundaries too, which is the third pillar of setting boundaries. We often think that when we set boundaries, we are responsible for how people feel.
Yes.
After we set boundaries. So if I say no to my child who wants the third chocolate this afternoon, I then feel bad negatively that I didn't allow the child
to enjoy
whatever
the afternoon, let's say.
The treat.
Yes.
That they believed they deserved. What should I do instead? Instead of carrying the weight, the baggage of the feeling that I have created by saying no, I should set strict boundaries. And I should say instead, I understand that the limitation that I have set does not make you feel well. But if you really think why I have said no, you will understand that this is for your own good.
How do you practice though? Because it's, now we listen to you, you're obviously very experienced in saying no or setting boundaries. How do you practice though? I mean, if someone that listens now, how can someone start doing small steps in setting boundaries and to become a really good expert like you, that you handle a really good handler of the language and the way you handle situations, to be able to, because you obviously have experience on this, yes? To be able to handle like groups of adults and C-level professionals on how and setting boundaries to be able to train them or pass the message across. So how do you start? What are some small steps that someone can do?
First of all, you start small. You are honest and you communicate the fact that you are honest. You always interact with people in a manner that shows respect to their personality. So I always communicating that I'm saying no, not because I don't like you, not because I do not want to help you, but because at this right moment, I do not have the luxury of time to be able to support you in this request of yours. I would be very much willing to assist with something that you have in mind in future, provided that I have the flexibility to do so. So you start small, but you need to be very careful not to apologize, not to compliment any no with a sorry.
Okay.
This is very important. When you say, no, I can't, and then say, oh my God, I'm really sorry, I wish I could help, and please excuse me, and I feel really bad inside.
Okay.
This is not working. you're giving the impression to people that you are flexible to bend your boundaries and that your boundaries are negotiable.
And
Every no,
you could do it, but you are not doing it, and you are sorry.
of course,
If you say sorry, it's like I can't do it if I
but I don't
want,
want to.
but I don't want to.
Exactly. So you have to be firm, you have to be assertive, you have to do it with honesty, you have to be clear in your intentions. My intention is not to let you down. My intention is to preserve my time, which is chargeable, and I do not have the luxury to allocate this time to go do the supermarket shopping for you because you're not in a mood to do the supermarket
You
shopping.
cannot really say that to your wife, though.
Can you not? It is a skill. Boundaries is not something that you're born with. It is a skill like everything else that you develop, you cultivate, you build on,
Yes, yes, of
and
course.
you become better at it.
Yes, of course. Nice. So I was listening to a podcast and someone said that I I I try get 100 no's before I start selling my new product. So he would go to the coffee shop and say, I want a Freddo, espresso, whatever. I want a coffee. And when the barista came, I was like, can I get the coffee for free, please, today? And he maybe get it for free. And the barista was like, yes, no one asked me for a free coffee, so yes, get it. Or he may not. So he would get a no. So he would take the no and celebrate it and say, okay, I have one no for today. So, and he was saying that this is a way of getting familiar, of receiving no's and
Rejection.
setting boundaries.
Yeah. It is getting familiar with rejection. Actually, when we do sales training, one thing that we say to trainees, to customers, is that before you are able to close a client, book a client, be prepared for the first 100 rejections. I used to have an audit client, and he requested support with business development. And he created lists of targets, of lists of leads. He said, okay, after these 3, 4, 5 first approaches, cold calling, we will certainly book our first client. And I said, no, that is not the case. Be prepared
For
to
the
hear
100.
the 100 first no's before you're in a position to accept the first yes.
Perfect. So how now we said the 3 ways of setting boundaries, and now we know how to say no, yes?
Indeed.
So no more yes man, because we all used to be yes man, yes? Yes man, yes woman.
We do not feel comfortable saying no and setting boundaries because we believe subconsciously that we are destroying relationships with people. We are saying no to the situation. We are not saying no to the person. We are saying no to the third chocolate of a day. We are not saying no to our child who we love. So boundaries should be adopted as a skill and tested and tried out on a daily basis with various situations so that, first of all, we do not feel negatively on the inside every time that we have to draw the boundaries.
And again, if someone doesn't respect your time, and that is chargeable, you don't really need him, yes, to be in your inner circle and as a client, yes.
Many people do not understand that they're overstepping your boundaries.
Yes.
So it's your job to ensure that your boundaries are very clearly set and that you respect yourself and that they should respect you too, because you're firm, assertive, and immovable. May I share a secret of
Yes,
something
of
that
course.
I do? I used to suffer very much from the fact that I used to receive calls from clients, coaches, mentorees, prospect clients after 8 p.m. at night. And very often I was engaged on the phone for 30 minutes, 40 minutes or so for every single case. So when it was time for my family to have dinner, to look at homework, to prepare things for the next day, I was pre-engaged, solving problems on the phone with people who I very much appreciate and respect, but I could deal with the next morning as
day.
efficiently as I would that day.
At 8 at night.
So what I do now, and that's a secret, I turn my phone off after 8 p.m. every night. And my phone does not switch on until the next morning. So no matter what, even if there's an earthquake or something major happens, I will not know because my phone is turned off. And this is a rule. And I abide to it so that I show myself that I respect my own boundaries of regaining my energy, of inner peace, of relaxation, and the same
Okay.
I request from other people.
Let me give you an advice then, because I had the same situation as well, and I will share my secret as well, and we close the podcast. I believe we said a lot of information about how to say no. I had the same situation at the beginning of my career, especially at lunchtime. I had calls at lunchtime and after 6. So at lunchtime, I used to answer. I said, I'm sorry, I'm eating now. I will finish and I will call you back. Either this or not answering.
Okay.
Not answering is a really good practice, and you call them back later and you say, yes, I was eating. It's my lunchtime. It's the only time of the day that I have with my spouse or with my family. And yes, now I'm back in the office. Let me know. Or especially at night, I used to not answer because now my phone doesn't ring. Nobody calls me.
Yeah.
After 6, nobody calls me because they know that I'm out of the office. It's done. And we're not doctors, dealing with heart surgery. So I'm sure that the day after I can solve it. The same time, there are some situations that I have to answer. For example, I was at a restaurant and I got 3 messages from 3 different people. Instagram is down. Instagram is lost. Of a specific client, yes. So I didn't answer at the moment.
Okay.
I finished my social dinner, and I answered after 1 hour because definitely, as I was eating, I couldn't bring Instagram back. I did it.
You couldn't.
The day after in the morning, and by noon it was up. It was back live, but definitely he's stressed. But there is nothing that I can do at this moment that I'm sharing my social experience eating with other people.
Well, people are not calling you anymore exactly because you have set boundaries.
Yes.
And this is an example of actually putting into practice what boundary setting is.
Yes.
So you've done well. Well
Thank
done.
you very much.
Congratulations.
I need to set the boundaries very clear for the free work because sometimes and sometimes I feel that I'm not handling it very well, because maybe your Instagram is blocked and Facebook, and you call me, and I know that I have to act fast.
Yeah.
To retrieve it back. I cannot be like, yes, in 1 week and in 10 days, because this is something, it's a factor that the meta takes very seriously to respond quickly. So I have to tell you that my fee is X. Do you want me to proceed?
Of course. Communicating very clearly.
And
your
some people are like, really? Do you want this amount to? I mean, yes, really, because maybe I solve it like this. Maybe it will take me 3 nights, like no sleep to solve it. So,
Yeah. You have to
and it's
communicate that information as well, because not everybody knows our line of business, your line of business or my line of
yes,
business,
yes,
and they think it's something that will take you half a minute, whereas it may actually take you 3 nights.
yes,
You need to communicate that though.
and also the expertise of those years
Of
that
course.
you built up to be able to click the button in that
Of course.
half minute.
Yeah.
Andrew, thank you very much.
Thank you too, Oresti. It was
Um,
fun once again.
yeah,
Thank you for having me.
the mind gap, say no, how to say no today. I believe we bridge another gap and see you at the next one.
Of course, thank you. Have a good day.
You too.